Good evening, good afternoon, and well, good evening for you guys across in Oz. It's so lovely to have your company on this Saturday evening here in the Northeast. My name is Craig Laird, if you didn't already know by now. If you have been watching today, then you'll know exactly who I am. We are here with the Creative Cravings, where we're going to be having a look at some stamping. Who are we going to be having a look at that with? It is, of course, the one, the only. She's been here all day as well. It's Michelle. Hey,
hello.
Michelle.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very
Good.
excited to show you some of my favourite stamping techniques.
Excellent. Can't wait to see that. It's been a lovely day so far. We've had a nice day. We've seen some new things. We've seen some starter things. And then we've just had a nice little chinwag while we've been doing prep and that in between the shows, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Good gossip.
Nice.
Good gossip. It's nothing like a good gossip.
No, putting the worlds to right.
That's
absolutely.
It, yeah.
Putting the worlds to right, absolutely, for sure. We've got Susie is on the comments again for this evening, so she's going to be sending them through. If you do want to get social, then of course you can do exactly that by following the details along the bottom, whether of course you're watching via Facebook or of course if you are watching via YouTube, then that's where you want to comment. If you've got any questions, anything you want to know, anything you want to check, or if you just want to have a little bit of a gossip with us on this Saturday evening, by all means, you can absolutely do that. So let's have a look at our very first item. We are going to be having a look at our rotating stamp. This one is our Meadow Wreath. So this one here is a lovely set that's going to be used in a very, very different way. So Michelle, how are we going to use this one?
So the Meadow Wreath stamp, it's one where you're going to stamp it out 4 times, but you're going to rotate. So it's a rotating stamp, a little bit different to just normally stamping. So you've got a lovely size stamp. So I've already got mine on my stamping platform, which is absolutely what you're going to need for this, because you're going to have it positioned in the middle perfectly, which I've already done just to save a little bit of time. I've got that lovely cross there and I've lined it up perfectly. I've already got just my white stamping card on there. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in 4 of my ink pads. So these are my quick dry ink pads that we're going to use. So I've got Honey Pot, Grasshopper, Green Topaz and Chinese Red. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Chinese Red. We're going to ink up that whole stamp, just like that. I'm going to flip this over and we're going to stamp it. We're going to stamp down from the middle and not from the side because we don't want to move it. So we're going to stamp straight down onto there. You're going to pick it up. You can see that you've got that beautiful stamping. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over. I'm just going to quickly give this a bit of a wipe. And then we're going to pick our second colour. You can go in with whichever colour you want to, because we're going to rotate it. So this is my Grasshopper that we're going in with. So we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. And we're going to stamp down. I'm going to lift it up and you can see it's looking beautiful. You can see
that coming together, can't you?
It comes together so quickly. It really does. So I'm now going to go in with my third colour and I've picked my Green Topaz. And we're going to, again, we're going to rotate that and we're going to stamp back down. And again, coming together beautifully. Beautiful. Then we're going to go in with Honey Pot. Rotate that one last time. Pop that down. Lift that up. And I have got my full, beautiful wreath.
So taken from what Michelle's just shown you there, combining it, so you can then, of course, make a lovely card front, simply with that sentiment, do a little bit of fussy cutting, but as you can see, that's your floral wreath meadow dye. Who is having a look in comments this evening? We've got a few of you actually coming in. What I was actually going to say as well, a minute ago, Michelle, when it comes to these stamps, I know obviously you were using the quick dry. Is that one that you would tend to use quite a lot when it comes to the rotating stamps?
It is. I will always go with the quick dries, purely because the quick dry, I know that sounds very daft, But I know you're rotating, so I know that you're not going to be stamping back over, but your water reactives aren't going to work for this. They're more of something that you're going to do a distressed stamping with. You absolutely can be using your opaques if you want, but I would stamp one rotation first. Yeah. And if you're going to heat emboss, I would heat emboss that rotation first. Or if you're not, you're just going to obviously have to wait a little longer for it to dry because it's an opaque pigment. But yeah, absolutely you can do that. The heat emboss actually, it looks really nice as you rotate and then heat emboss.
Yeah. I suppose it works well as well with the Midas metallic ink pads as well.
Oh yes.
If you go in with anything like that, you can do that. Yeah. Look beautiful. One stamp by just turning 90 degrees each time. Yeah. Don't know how the team thought of that, but it's good.
No, so if I just quickly, let me just pop this on for you really quickly and just show you. If I just pop one colour down and pop it on there.
Okay.
So there you go, look, that is just one stamp. So yeah, for them to figure out actually the placement of every little bit. And again, so absolutely, if you want to go in with the same colour, rather than changing all 4 colours, so do you know what? I have never done it in the same colours.
I've not actually, now you come and see it.
Shall we have a quick, sneaky, see what it looks like?
Because I've never thought about doing it in the simple colours, same colours.
No. I don't know. I think it's like we were saying earlier. We tend to really go to town with like demos and stuff. Yeah. And we forget actually just pull it back a little bit and it looks just as fabulous. So let me get that.
And that's a good point. Maybe if you are new to crafting, you're going to go for these stamps, but you don't want to invest in 4 ink pads. You know, if you've only got the one or you only want to purchase the one, you can still use the stamp. I mean, look at that.
Look at that, just in one colour. How pretty does that look? How daft does it sound that as a crafter,
I know what you
I've
mean,
never done that in just one colour?
One colour.
It looks, and then so one colour, you could then be colouring it in with any of your ink pads, your pens, aquas.
You absolutely could do. Lots of you tuning in this evening, this afternoon. Kimberly from North Carolina, Beth is in, Candice is in, Jamie's in, Tim's in, Miriam's in from Bronx, New York, Pammy, BJ Clark, we've got Kimberly, Barbara, Robin, Kate is saying, great to see Michelle back, and Tim is on YouTube saying, just want to thank crafters for the new shows, the more education and techniques. With everything out there, you can sometimes be overwhelmed. It's always good to go back to basics. It absolutely is. Amazing things. These are from Chalkboard collection. This one here, it says, go out there and do amazing things. This is one thing that you can be doing. Lots of other things, such as what Michelle is away to show us just now.
So I have got these amazing Chalkboard stamps. So this is my amazing things. So again, let's just pop this out and show you this lovely stamp. So it's that beautiful sentiment. Go out there and do amazing things. So what we're going to do for this one is we're going to bring in some black card and we're going to bring in some shimmer, our new shimmer pearlescent pigment ink pads. So I've picked my raspberry, I've picked my peach rose, and I've picked my frosty mint. So let's just pop those to the side, get my stamp off of here and place these down. So we call these our Chalkboard stamps because they look beautiful on our black card, almost like a chalkboard that you're going to see outside, you know, a posh cafe, something like that. You know, when they've got the lovely menus up outside. It has that
look with these stamps, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So I think normally we would maybe use our white pigment ink or some of our opaques, you know, our coloured ones, but they look just as beautiful. So these shimmer ones are absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to turn that round just so I can get on that edge there.
And as much as the white complements this stamp, why it's called obviously the Chalkboard, it does work well with what you're doing now, changing the colours up.
Yes, absolutely. So again, let's get that pressed down. bring that up. So, oops, just need to pop a little bit more ink on.
And with this stamp and that platform, this is where they work hand in hand together, complement each other by being able to layer up a double time.
They absolutely do. I love these, and I love having a real good play with these. So let's pop that off because we need to put some embossing powder on there. On there. There you go. You can see that embossing powder has stuck to that ink beautifully.
So fine yet so readable when it comes to the font.
Yes, it is. So here's the magic. So we're not gonna waft it about like a hairdryer. We're just gonna hold it still, and then once it grabs, you'll see it and be able to follow it round.
And this is it with that stamp, whether you're going in just with inks as you've been using, that delicate powders, of course, if you've got things such as your pigment powders, they're all going to work really, really well with that. Can't wait to see how this is turning out. Because sometimes you might think as well, oh, on black, how's it going to go? It's all about the turn of lights, isn't it? The way it catches.
So let's just make sure that's grabbed everywhere. And if I pop that to the side, and if I just do that for you.
Oh, wow.
There you go. There's your, look at that. When the light hits it. So that is our beautiful chalkboard stamps.
So doing exactly what Michelle's just done, but maybe using white embossing powder, or only going in and using your normal black waterproof, or of course your alcohol proof. That is from the Amazing Things stamps that you can be doing all these different things. We've got more of you just popping up when it comes to the comments. We're going to have a little read of them when they come out. I know I did say at the start, but it is Susie that's on once again this evening. So do feel free, send any comments through. As I say, any questions as well, we'll pop them across to Michelle throughout the show. Crafters TV along the bottom. Maybe there's something else that you want to see in future weekend shows. By all means, send them across. We'll feed them to the team. A lot of love this week and last week when it comes to these new shows, Michelle, going right back to the basics when it comes to stamping. And then after you've shown that technique, showing how you can then use them in other ways, simpler ways, detailed ways.
Yes.
It's nice to see.
It really is. It really is. So I just thought quickly, I've done it in colours for you. How about, so it really pops as it should be, we'll do it in the white. So I've quickly just grabbed my opaque pigment in the white, and really this is just an amazing way to show these off. This is
such a good way.
The stereotypical chalkboard effect that you're going to get, isn't it? It's outside those posh cafes where they've got the lovely, in fact I think they paint it on now, don't they, rather than just write it on?
Don't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like a big chisel nibbed pen or something, and they draw it on.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just bring this in again. I think it's nice to see it in the colours. Those shimmer inks look fabulous, but it's always nice to see it as it's intended.
It is, isn't it?
In the white, definitely. So let's bring in the heat gun again. This is the fun bit, isn't it?
It is. It really, really is. We were saying earlier on, it's that one bit that's actually got so many people into crafting or paper crafting. They see it at an event, or they see it at a club, or they just see it somewhere being demonstrated, and they purchase the little set that they see, and that gets them going.
Just watching it change like this. I could do this just all day, do nothing else, just this, and be very, very happy.
I would as well. I absolutely would.
Yeah, if you've got your little talc bag that you can get, you know, to take your fingerprints away. But I don't use this with these, because I think when your powder grabs to random little bits on your page, and you've got those almost like a vintage look it gives to it, I think. But I love these. Look at that. It is just, when the light hits it, It's absolutely worth it.
Brilliant, excellent. So yeah, as many of you saying, it's lovely to see them being stripped right back and then given other ideas when it comes to the cards and projects. So I've got Lillian is also saying, I was thinking about just using silver on purple, going by that rotating stamp a moment ago. That's a really good idea. And in actual fact, that would work well with these amazing stamps too.
It would.
That would work really well.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
Good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Do you know, I love it when, you know, you just sort of get inspired and come up with another idea. Absolutely.
We've also got Pammy saying if you used all the green, then add red dots. It could be a gorgeous Christmas wreath. Again, that rotating wreath. Brilliant idea. Also saying it's another one of my favourites. Heart to Heart is saying, hi Craig, where can we get embossing powder? I'm not sure if there's any on our website. Anything that Michelle's been using, focusing on all across on the Crafter's Companion website. Embossing powder as such, I'm not sure if we have any. We don't have our own branded one. You can just check out, of course, those other sites to have a look. Clear embossing powder, white embossing powder. As long as it's embossing powder, that's of course where you can find it. Just pop it into the search engines. Punny stamps. This is the penguin punny stamps. 2 stamps, use them together, use them separately. How cute, but it's that punny sentiment that's going to work really, really well onto your cards or projects. That's just 2 ideas. Another idea in which Michelle's away to show us.
So it's penguining is the one we're going to use. It's penguining to look a lot like Christmas. So you get the beautiful penguin in there, and you also get the sentiment stamp as well. So let's take this off. What we're going to do is I'm just going to put it onto my rocker block. Again, another staple that I absolutely always go to. So we're just going to pop lots of ink. So I'm just using my black quick dry ink at the minute. That's all because I'm not going to be colouring these in. I just want to create a bit of a scene with them. So I'm going to pop my rocker block down. I'm going to pop my 2 fingers here and I'm going to rock. I always come back. You don't have to. You can just rock on and rock off. I always come back. So I've got my stamp. I've got him all there and he looks fabulous. But what I want to do is I want to create lots of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some of my masking tape. I'm just going to pop it onto a piece of card and I'm going to stamp onto this. In fact, if I stamp again, you should get a 2nd generation stamp. So there you go. Can you see how this is what we call the 2nd gen, how much lighter it is. So what you're going to do is you're going to fussy cut out your penguin. So you're going to fussy cut him out and we're going to pop him here. In fact, we're not. We're going to pop him right over that penguin. I'm going to bring in my stamp again. So
when it comes to the what you were stamping onto, you're not having to worry about it being really strong or bright, as you say, that 2nd generation. It's enough so that you can follow the outline. Yes,
yes, definitely. So what you're doing with the masking tape is you're going to pop it on there and it's just going to stick just lightly enough. It's not going to stick down. You're going to be able to roll it back off. And then we're going to pop this 2nd stamp, 2nd image on there. And again, I'm going to go a 2nd generation at this side. So I'm going to get 2 out of that. Can you see how much lighter he is? But what we're going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to peel it off. And there you go. I've got my lovely group of penguins.
All together. How cool is that? So maybe taking ideas from that, using them singly if you want to, creating your own scene, of course, or just stamping them twice, cutting them out. But that is from your punny Christmas, which is your penguin. How many more are popping in when it comes to the comments tonight? Another few for sure. That would be great. The you'll have been able to tell a moment ago. I forgot the name of it. Masket sheet. I was trying. Do you know what I was actually waiting to say? I was going to say post-it note. Post-it note. There's like, no, that's a brand, Craig. No, you can't say that. Well, you can't say it as an idea to use, although you could. But yeah, masket sheet, masket roll.
Masket. So yeah, it comes in this roll. And you get so much. And again, it's not too sticky. it's sticky enough. So what I tend to do is I will pull a piece off, I will stick it to a piece of card, whatever stamp it is, I'm just going to cut it out, like you saw. So I cut it out, fussy cut it out, and whatever image I'm wanting to stamp over, you're going to cover up. So say for instance, I want to stamp next to this lovely little chap here. You're just going to lay it over, and again, it's going to go on again and again and again. You absolutely, it doesn't lose its stick for a very, very long time, because that's not really what its intention is. No. No, it is almost like the same stick that's on the back of a Post-it note.
It is, isn't it? And then what I do is once I've cut it out, I just stick it onto the back of the kind of like that plastic sheet that comes with your stamp.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I do. Again. Definitely. So let's just take this one off, and can you see how they look like they're going back? So this second gen one, again, let's cover that one up. And just to show you again, I've tore his little foot away, but that's okay. So just to show you again how it works. Again, you've got that second gen. Now, if I go back in a third time, just to show you, I've got that third gen, and it's still lots there. So let's see. Fifth.
Wow.
Sixth. So roughly about there is where you're going to do if you want that no line colouring in. Because once you've coloured that in, you're not really going to see the line.
You're not, are you?
But again, if I peel that one over, you've got, so it's going back on both sides, you're going to get that faded effect if that's what you want. Look how many stamps I got out of that, just one stamp. I'm going to have to see number 7.
Let's go for it. Maybe there's just a bit of fog in front of us.
Yes, that's it. It's a little bit foggy, but he is there. And again, there's enough there that I could colour that in and you're not going to see my lines,
no, you're not.
Which is
And that
brilliant.
top one, that fourth one that you done, if you're new to crafting, maybe invest in your Noir Black alcohol proof or waterproof. Maybe you can't invest into the lighter one, which is the Flagstone. That would be a perfect alternative. Stamp it once, get that harshness of the black out the way, stamp it again. That's going to give you the equivalent, of course, of your Flagstone. Really good. Never thought of doing that one either, Michelle. See, even the things I'm learning as well after all these years. Linda on YouTube is saying, can't have enough cute penguins, not at all. Kathy is saying, wow, I never use it, going to have to order it. This is how it's going to look onto the website as well. You get a huge big roll of it. You get, what's it, does it say the length in total? We're going to double check that. 10 metres in total that you've got. Melinda's saying, I had to use sticky notes to do that, now a neat product, which it is. Tim on YouTube is saying, that's amazing. I use drawn gum, but that's so much quicker. Drawn gum is great, you just need to let it dry. That's straight and it's instant, so of course, that's perfect for sure. So as I say, anything that you see that Michelle has been using or is using, go across onto our website. You can find Creative Cravings there, but you can also still shop the day. A lot of the main items that Michelle has been using throughout Play Your Crafts Right, Starter Skills, and now Creative Cravings are all there in a winner. You'll have seen her use some cardstocks, they're there as well. So you still have that ability to do that across on our website. Whether it's .co.uk, .com.au, it's still there for you. We've got our wildflower and butterfly stamps. Look at this. You've got your one stamp, then stamp it out one. You're going to get that a look, but then you can create this look similar to what Michelle's done in the past, or what she's away to do right now.
So the wildflowers and butterflies, again, a beautiful, beautiful stamp. These are our resist stamps. So we're going to be stamping these to give you a lovely resist effect. So I've already taken mine off. I've popped my, my stamping card here, or my multi-purpose white card, and then I've got my stamp on there already. So I'm going to bring in, again, my opaque pigment in my pure white. You can be using your watermark as well if you want. It's a translucent clay, but I'm going to use my white. So again, we're going to ink all this up. We're going to stamp out, and I know I'm stamping white on white, but that's okay. So we're going to give it a good press down. And again, you can be using black card if you want, craft card, anything you want. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to do that heat emboss. So let me just pop that to the side again. Let's get some powder popped on there. Let's bring in this spare piece of card just to tip it off with. And straight away I can see that the powder has taken on all of that. So I'm going to bring my heat tool in again, and we're going to set this. So again, I'm not going to waft it around like a hairdryer. We're just going to keep it still, and once that, where it's pointing, grabs, we're just going to follow it around.
And is that just a standard Crafting heat gun that you're using for our heat embossing?
It is, yeah. Just a normal heat tool. This has got 2 heat settings on. Some just have 1. They're all just a little bit different, but all work exactly the same.
You always wonder at first when you're doing heat embossing onto your white cardstock with these stamps, how it's going to turn out, but it's all to do with the magic of the colour, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So I'm not going to finish all this off, but what I am going to show you is I'm going to bring in my fuchsia water reactive ink pad. I'm just going to pick a little bit of ink up, and once I do that, you can see how it heat resists. So these are absolutely brilliant. You've got that beautiful resist, and you're going to use any kind of ink that you want on the background to create that beautiful resist effect.
So doing exactly what Michelle's just done when it comes to this card, but why not chop up your card paper that you can see here? Why not go all inky with some black? These have all been done using your wildflowers and butterfly stamp set. Got really, really good question coming from Tim. So what I would do, Michelle, is I'll let you finish that little bit off, and then I've got a question, because the question isn't actually about what you've been doing, which doesn't matter, Tim. Any question, absolutely any question. What I'll just do is I'll just wait until Michelle has gone over.
Yes, shall I finish this off now?
Yeah, go for it.
Let me finish this off. So I'm going to finish heat setting the rest of this image. So this is the fun bit.
Okay.
Even though you may necessarily not be able to see the whole thing sort of turning, because I'm white on white, but that is the nature of these. And you've got that beautiful resist there, haven't you? So let's just finish heating that on.
And sometimes when you start white on white, it feels like you're doing something wrong. It feels like it's not going to work. But trust it, follow what Michelle's been showing you, and it works an absolute treat.
It really does. This is, again, so I've picked lots of techniques that I love to do and wanted to share with you guys. Again, to show you that stamping actually is just as much fun as the die cutting, as the embossing, and there's not really that much to be scared of. Because I always was with the stamping. I was definitely very much wary of stamping, which is why I ended up with the platform.
Yeah.
Because so Angela was like, when I was on the design team, she says, get a platform, it will change your stamping and your view on stamping. So I did, and she's absolutely right. I love it now because I can't go wrong with the platform.
No, keeps you right. It keeps you right, and that's what you want.
Yes, absolutely. So if I just add a few different colours, I've just used my honey pot. I used my fuchsia earlier.
Okay.
And I'm just going to do a little bit of parakeet now. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
So again, you know, if you go over your 2 colours, obviously you're going to create a third. But just how amazing does that look? Really does just pop.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really, really does. Makes it stand out. And of course, depending on what colour you use, it's going to look different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, you can definitely, you would probably be a bit more choosy about where you put in which colour. I just wanted to put some ink on there just to show you how much it pops off. But again, you can be using these to watercolour with, just use your watercolour card. But because you're heat setting this, you can bring any of your aqua pens, your new tricolours. They're going to look amazing colouring this up because you've heat set that stamp. You can absolutely bring any medium into this that you want.
But, and funny enough, with you talking about your alcohol, it kind of ties in what Tim was just asking there. So I'll fire it across to Michelle, but then both of us can answer it away if need be. Tim is saying, I have the Colour Blend wax pencils. Are you best to use watercolour or alcohol ink pad to colour in the designs?
So it's the...
So the Colour Blend wax
blend.
pencils.
I think with those you don't, unless you're going to go on top of your alcohol pens with them. I wouldn't have said you need to use your alcohol-proof ink pad. Just maybe your quick dry one. What do you think?
So what I would say is, with your Colour Blend pencils, you can blend them completely on their own. What you can do with them is blend them with your blending solution, which is alcohol. So therefore, you're going to use your alcohol-based ink pad.
Absolutely. Do you know, I forgot about the blending solution.
Yeah. Do you notice, if you're just using them on their own, I don't know how it would work with the water-based ink pad, but keeping it on the premise that they are intended to blend with your alcohol solution, so therefore use your alcohol-proof ink pad. So that is a really, really good question. Your waterproof ink pad you could do with your aqua pencils, anything that is water-based in that one. Do you know what? If you only had the water-based, give it a shot and see what would happen. But that's what I would say anyway. It's a good way to think about it. Blending solution against your alcohol ink pad. So that is that one. So hopefully that helps. We have got our Up and Away stamp. This is from Enchanted Dreams. You've got your stamp, but you have also got a variety of dies. That's going to work beautifully well together, of course. Use them signed away on their own, but if you do use them, you can use them together. Michelle, what are you going to do with them?
So Up and Away is the beautiful stamp that I've picked. So let's pop this out. Not only do you have the stamp in there, you also have the die in there. And you've also got a couple of other dies in there to create those beautiful clouds. So again, what we're going to do is I'm going to pop this onto my rocker block. I'm going to bring in my quick dry, my Noir Black, because I'm just going to sort of create a scene. I'm not going to be colouring anything in. If you are colouring in, you are going to use whichever ink pad you need. If you're using alcohol pens, you're going to use your... I've just got it next to me. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, how can I lose it so quickly? You're going to use your alcohol proof. There it is. Sorry. So if you're colouring in with your pens, as you can see, you're going to use your alcohol proof. And again, you've got numerous different colours in there. So let's stamp that down.
While you're stamping.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So again, the masking tape is what we've used for this. And I've already stamped this out. And the beauty of this one is, because you've got the die in here, you can die cut it out. So you don't need to worry about the fussy cutting. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop that over. That lovely image. I'm going to ink this up again. And we're going to pop another image down. So roughly, let's do it there. And this is the fun. This is where you're going to have a little bit of a play. So because I've still got that masking tape on my front one, I'm going to pop a little bit more ink on and we're going to go to this side. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off and I'm going to quickly run my cloud, if I can get it off, through my machine.
For this little set, getting that stamp, which is great, but then also having that cloud die, which you're going to be using all throughout your cards, aren't you? Different occasions.
Definitely. This is I know I say it about everything, but this is one of my favourites because there's just so much you can do with this. And then when you combine it with this kind of technique, so the masking technique, it takes it to a whole new level. You're going to be able to do so much more with this than what you could do. So let's just take that off. So you do have a couple of choices here. So I have almost created myself sort of a positive and a negative mask. So what I can do is I can pop this on here and we can ink through it. Okay. So I'm going to bring in my parakeet because it's a nice light blue, and because I've still got that masking or that masket on there, I can create myself a lovely cloud that's going to sit behind this. Or what I can do is with this particular piece, what I can do is I have another one here, just going to gently, carefully cover that back one up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this round. I'm going to hold them both into place. And again, if you use the masket, you know, you're going to be holding these into place a lot easier.
They work well together with the stamp and die set.
They absolutely do. So let's just do this. And if I pop that round, you can see there's two different ways to use that. So if I peel that off, you can see that that one's gone behind. Now, if I'd used some masking tape or a little bit of dotty tape pen, but your masking tape is absolutely much better for this. Pop it over there. So let's cover this one back up again.
So it's in your set, using the die as it's intended, but seeing how you can use it in other ways as well. You've used it there with as a template, basically. Yes,
yeah, definitely. And if you're using your masking tape to die cut these out, obviously it's gonna stay in place. I'm holding my finger on it. But again, if I just pop that to the side and bring that off, you can just go in a little bit closer if you want. But those are the two ways. Obviously that is the main way, but then using those clouds to go behind your flower balloon or to create a full beautiful background for those flower balloons.
So going and doing everything that Michelle's shown you, or by simply going in and using the stamp and the die, do a little bit of colouring, go to absolute town when it comes to the cards and project that you're making. But that one is up, up and away, and that one is from our Enchanted Dreams. It really is a beautiful set for you to be able to create, you know, lovely floral celebration cards, but then having that cloud, you can colour theme it for a new baby as well if you wanted to. And then even using the way that you've done that there with the cloud die, using it to ink around, but then remembering you've got that bit which is waste and then inking through that or spritzing through that. Really is a good way.
I love this one. I know it's a masking, but it's a different way to do it. So I've created that lovely cloud. I couldn't think of the word then. So again, let me just show you again quickly. Where's my... Oh, it's there. It's right next to me.
All next to you.
So if I cover that back over again. So you've got to remember that I've stamped and die cut this out, so it's going to give me a bit of a border around my image. If you don't want that border around, then just fussy cut round it. Again, it's entirely up to you, you know, on what kind of look that you're going for. But if I put this here, so it's really going behind my balloon. Let's pop one up here, so you can have a real good see of what it looks like.
The dimension you would get.
Yes, yeah. Let me bring in my pink, sorry. I have to. I'm doing clouds now. The pink has to come out.
Oh, it has to. You know, pink clouds. You can have any colour clouds.
Well, that's it. I think so.
Oh yeah, mixing them together.
I just love that colour. I love how it looks. So let me just put another little bit down here. Again, they're all going to be going behind my balloons, my hot air balloons. So if I just, so this is going to end up looking a mess with all the stamps and the inks on, but you can see it's peeling off beautifully again. And look how gorgeous that effect is. And,
so effective.
And the thing is, so if I've got my penguins under here, I can absolutely do the same with my penguin. If I mask him off, I can bring this in and I can have clouds behind him, or any die that you have got in your kit or your stencils. You're going to mask your penguins off, you're going to mask whatever it is off, and you can create the background so it's sitting behind your images, which masking tape, it's like magic tape. It's just
really
amazing.
Isn't it? Really, really is. I've got a couple of questions, which one of them I'll fire across to Michelle. I can do the other one if you don't mind, Michelle. No. One of them is, Lynn is saying, what reason would you want to use different heat settings on your heat gun? For me, I would say the main power is for your embossing powders. I would say if you're wanting to dry anything, then I would tend to go on that lower settings, just a little bit softer, not as heavier. Don't know about you. What would you say the same?
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I would also, for the lower heat setting, if I'm wanting to dry my opaque inks and I'm not heat setting them, I just want them to dry that little bit quicker, I would use that.
Excellent. Yeah. And Melinda on YouTube is saying, Michelle, will masking tape hold if we do heat embossing and want to stamp over it? So it presumes means heat embossing, then put that layer of masking over the top. You know, can you still go and stamp over the top?
I'm just looking for what I've heat embossed.
Yeah,
so
can't see why not.
No, it sticks perfectly.
It is, isn't it?
So mine's been peeled off a few times, but I think if you do it fresh onto a heat emboss, it's going to stick beautifully. In fact, if I just give it a bit more of a, it's sticking over my embossing beautifully. Yeah. So yes, absolutely.
And it's not too embossed that it's going to affect the actual layer of your masking. Lynn is saying, I adore this stamp. Mary's saying she just loves that stamp as well. Tim is also saying, thank you, Craig and Michelle. You are welcome. Keep the comments coming in. Any questions, if anything, let me know what you're doing on this Saturday evening or afternoon. You're maybe going to be doing, maybe you're doing a little bit of crafting. Maybe you're going to be doing what I'm doing on Monday, and that's putting my Christmas tree and decorations, and I'm just going to go full force Christmas on Monday. I would do it tomorrow. However, I'm in tomorrow as well. Myself, it's going to be myself and Michelle for the first 2 shows tomorrow. And then you guys stateside have got a USA warehouse clearance with Sarah and Ben, who will probably due to be going on stage for their very first show. I don't know why I want to say 7 o'clock. It's 7:15 here in the UK. It's probably maybe about 7:30 is maybe about a good time for a first show. So I know they won't be watching, but big shout out to Sarah and Ben and the whole team there. Good luck. Hope everything goes well. I know it's going to go really, really well. And I know you'll be sending in your comments to Sarah and Ben tomorrow. The warehouse clearance. You guys here in the UK, don't you worry. Something is coming very, very soon this week. Roses in Bloom. Lovely set. I say a set, it's one sizable stamp. It's got the rose. It has also got your leaves to go with it, the foliage. Think of what you can be doing it by thinking along the lines as to what Michelle is just a way to show you.
So the Roses in Bloom stamp, it's a beautiful size, and what I'm going to do is, so I've got my opaque pigment in black and I've got my metallic pigment in red garnet. So either of these are going to work beautifully for what I'm going to be doing, and you're not going to be able to see it, but well, you can just see that. I've got some heat resistant acetate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take my stamp off. I've already got it on here. Not that you, not that you can see it, but it is there, I promise. We're going to pick that up. We're going to have another go at picking that up. So it's not picking up, and I'll tell you why it's not picking up. It's just sticking to my heat-resistant acetate.
Okay, I see.
So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line that over that way. I'm going to pop it on there because I know that that's where my heat-resistant acetate is. I'm going to go give it a good press down. I'm going to check that it's on, and it is. So I'm going to bring in my ink pad. So I'm going to use, again, my opaque pigment because I'm going to get a beautiful, lovely stamp with this. So let's turn that round. There, that's the right way up now. So again, we're going to stamp straight down, and we're going to give it a nice press all over to make sure that it makes contact with my acetate everywhere, and it has. So I'm very happy with that. So you need to be very careful with this, because if you touch it now, you're sort of going to smudge the ink. So let me just bring in my spare card to catch my embossing powder. And again, I'm just using a clear embossing powder. You can get coloured ones if you want to use those. But if you're using a particular colour ink to stamp with, then I like to use my clear embossing powder, because then I can see the colour of the ink that I'm using. So it's heat resistant acetate. So we're gonna heat set it, and it's gonna heat set beautifully.
So the heat embossing, the powder you've used, it's nothing different from what you've used on cardstock. It's exact same embossing powder, but it's working really well with this stamp and onto your heat resist acetate.
It really is. You're just doing exactly the same as we've been doing on any cardstock. I've used my pigment ink, which is the nice sticky one that's going to grab the powder. And it's just a clear gloss embossing powder, and you can see how that's turning beautifully. So that is all ready now. So if I bring in, let me just get rid of this powder and bring in this piece of card for you. Pop it underneath. There you go. So getting rid of the little bit of powder that's on there. That's heat embossed. That is set now.
That is wow.
And it hasn't buckled, it hasn't bent, it's heat embossed beautifully. What you're going to do now is you're going to bring in your alcohol pens with this. You're going to turn it over, you're going to colour on the back, because it's the acetate, you know, it takes a second to dry, so you don't want to smudge, but you're going to colour on the back. You've got those beautiful lines to follow, and it's going to look amazing. So if I just quickly bring in a couple of our classic. So I've just got a couple of my reds. So this is DR5. Just going to pop that over. Just going to colour a couple of those petals in. And again, I'm creating a stained glass window effect, so I don't have to worry about doing a blend, a three colour or 3 shade blend at all. So look how beautiful it looks. So I'm going to turn it over again.
So striking with that stamp, the way that you've done that heat embossing onto the heat-proof acetate.
And I think it's something that we forget that we can do.
We do.
We tend to buy construction acetate to obviously, you know, make our cards and things with, but this heat-resistant acetate just looks absolutely beautiful with that stamp on there.
Absolutely brilliant. Following on from what Michelle's done, or of course you can use it with your cardstock. Why not stamp it, colour it a few times, and you can do some fussy cutting to layer it up that you can see there. But that is from your Roses in Bloom stamp set. You do often forget about the fact that you can colour into your acetate, and it's a really good tip as well about colouring on the reverse, because sometimes you initially think you're going to colour into the embossed lines, but onto the acetate. It's good doing it in the back, isn't it?
Yeah, I love doing this. And again, you forget, so we have this on our website. This is our heat resistant acetate. It's in A4 sheets, so you absolutely need to do this. Again, you can be bringing in your metallic pigments. We've got 12 of those, I think. You can be bringing in these new shimmer ones, because again, it's a pigment, and that's what you're looking for when you want to heat emboss, because it stays open for longer. The pigment, it's got bigger particles in there, so that's what means it stays open for longer or wetter for longer, which, you know, if you're waiting for it to dry is not a good thing, but it is for embossing, for anything like that, because it stays open long enough for you to stamp whatever it is up that you want stamping, add your powder and then heat emboss. So anything that says a pigment is what you're going to be using. But if I just colour a little bit more in for you, and it's so much easier to do it on the back than it is on the front. So again, I've just picked a couple of my greens. Let me bring in the darker one just so you can see that better.
I suppose it means as well, if you are doing heat embossing with another colour, maybe a lighter colour, you don't have to worry about staying in that embossed line. Obviously,
No.
if you were to say you were doing it into a white card, then of course your alcohol pen is going to colour the white embossed line.
Yes.
Whereas by doing it on the reverse, you're not going to see it.
Well, that's it. That's absolutely it. If you're like me and you definitely don't colour in the lines, this is an absolutely brilliant way to do it. So if I pop that over, I know that you can see those line marks. So once that dries off a little bit, go back over it, unless you like that.
Okay.
You know, you don't necessarily have to. And obviously when you're colouring at home, you're going to take a little bit more time than me. So you're not necessarily going to get all those lines, but again, I like it. I think it adds
I was
a little
just a way
bit.
to say, that sketchy look can work really, really well.
Yeah, and again, obviously, you know, it depends on what look you... Do you know what? Don't necessarily go for a particular look. Sometimes it's better to just work with what you're working with and see where it goes. You might surprise yourself as to how fabulous it looks. You've definitely got more of a sketched look there, and where on that side you've got a more coloured in look. But again, I can go back over that again a third time if I want, because my alcohol has dried. If I go back over it, you get a more coloured in image. But again, have a play, see which version you prefer.
Yeah, excellent. Really, really good. So many people forgotten about that one, like I did as well. So what we're going to do is, we've not got much long on the show left, so we're going to dive straight into this next item, and then just before we wrap up the show, we'll have a last read of the few comments. Good luck. How about this one for a stamp set? This is a good luck different font stamp set. You can see that good luck, few different fonts you can be using. Please don't think you can only use it as a sentiment, because as Michelle will show you, there's different ways.
There absolutely is different ways. So I have picked my good luck, and they're just lots of different sentiments, different fonts of this good luck. So let's pop it out, and I'm going to bring in, so again, I'm going to bring in my rocker block, and we're going to create a lovely background. So I've just got a couple of my quick dry ink pads. I've got my Chinese red and I have got my honey pot. So let me just pop this. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one. You can pick as many or as few of these as you like to create your background. But I'm going to go for the full word altogether. So good luck. So I'm going to pop that on there. I'm going to turn this way.
As well. Yes, great for that sentiment on your card to wish someone good luck, but remembering the fact that you can still create different layers, different backgrounds with them, different effects.
You absolutely can. So in the middle of my background, I'm going to start with my first sentiment. And again, if you're going to be swapping and changing, then that's absolutely fabulous. But all I'm going to do is I'm really going to just build this up. Don't try to make it uniform. Don't try to make everything sort of match. You want a definite, unless that's the look you're going for. But if you just want a nice, lovely background, it's just a lot of fun to make it very random.
Use the good lucks in different ways.
Yes, definitely. So we're going to have some straight. We're going to have them on all sorts of different angles. I'm not too bothered if some has got a little bit more ink on than others. We're going to have that going off the side of my page. We're going to bring, again, this in, and we're going to have that going off the bottom, but at a different angle. There we go. And a little bit more ink. And then we're going to pop, again, it coming off as if it's a big piece that we've cut down. And you're just going to have a lot of fun having a bit of a play. I'm going to pop that on there, and then
I would say that's the good thing, or that's the thing with this stamp set, Michelle, is have fun with it.
Yes.
What's the worst that can happen? Pop your ink on and have fun with the good lucks.
Absolutely, that's it. We send a card, we send something like this because we want to say something. So why not say it by absolutely going to town with a whole lovely background. So we've got good luck, but we have lots of others in this collection. And again, with this, you can be heat embossing all of these. You can be using our new shimmer ones, any of our pigment, absolutely. You're just going to have a lot of fun. You're gonna just be having a look, seeing where you think this needs to go. We're gonna pop that one there.
Loving how this is coming together with all these stamps.
It's a very easy, simple thing to do, but looks so, so effective. So I'm just gonna put that on there. So I think one more of these. So I was gonna stick with just the big good luck, but I've changed my mind. Obviously I've got my little luck on there now. So I'm just gonna bring this in, and I'm gonna pick one of the goods. So, no, that says luck. There we go. Good. And what I love about this is they're all different sized fonts. So you're really gonna be able to go to town with this. It's gonna look amazing with all those different fonts. So let's pop that huge good there. I think we'll pop another one just there.
And you don't need to have the good and the luck in line with each other, do you?
No, definitely not.
What you're doing.
Definitely not. So squeeze that last one in there, and that is my background, all made.
Brilliant. Going from a background or onto a card simply by using pattern papers with the inks, or of course you can create your own front and topper with the good luck, keeping it very, very simple. But that is from your good luck, and that is from your sentiments stamp set. Such a lovely thing to see in the different ways in which you can create your cards and your projects. We've got Sandra on Facebook is saying, quick question, metallic pads, so our metallic ink pads, tried embossing with them, but the text doesn't come out clean, more like a smooched, flattened. I would say exactly what you've been doing with the stamping mat or stamping platform, and the way you treated the acetate.
Yes.
Smoothly.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's just about, I don't want to say that you're rushing it, but just take that little bit more time. What I would do is, if I'm use your stamping platform, definitely, ink it a couple of times and do a lighter pressure. So it's not necessarily going to ink up fully the first time, but when you go in the second or third time, it's going to build up that ink and it's not going to squash it, if that makes sense. And then once you've put your powder on, you should end up with a crisp image or sentiment.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Michelle. Dieta, some lovely comments. Thank you. There may be something coming up in the future when it comes to do with vellum, so keep your eyes peeled on that one. Dieta is also saying, absolutely loving what Michelle's just been showing you. Also saying, I love Craig. Watching his shows are so calming. Always learn so much. Michelle, absolutely, really, really do. Stephanie is saying, could you use Gamasol with your Classiques to smooth it out? I wouldn't suggest mixing or adding anything with your alcohol markers. Don't know about you, Michelle, but I would just keep them as it is. You don't want them to get tainted with anything whatsoever. So Michelle showed you, smooth it out or leave it that little bit of a sketchy look. That works really, really well. Thank you so much for all your comments this afternoon. Thank you so much, Susie, for giving us a helping hand. Michelle, thank you so much as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Incredible ways in which you can use our stamp and our dies, of course, word play your crafts right. We then went into, of course, starter skills, get used to the titles, and then, of course, creative cravings. So I know a lot of people have loved seeing what you've done and forgotten about how you can do them, like me, heat embossing onto your acetate. Forgot about that one as well. you fancy doing it again tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, same time,
Same
place.
time tomorrow? Yeah, let's do it. I think we're going to have a starter skills again. What we're going to look at?
Embossing folders tomorrow.
Well, fab.
Again, picked a few of my favourite ones to show you different ways to use them. Yeah,
Going to be good. It's going to be good. So myself and Michelle, we're going to be here for starter skills as well as Second Chance Sunday, and then Ben and Sarah, they're going to be here for the USA warehouse. Thank you to the main lady herself who's just walking past Tracy, of course Michelle, and we've had Jake. No, we've not. Jake's a helping hand. We've had George and we've had Jamie in the gallery as well. So once again, thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the day. I'm off to watch I'm a Celebrity get me out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.